Welcome back to Fold in the Cheese. It's your boy K-Troll on the mic. Today we are recapping Wild Card Weekend. It was wild card. And I'm joined today, as you can tell by the Boston Bruins jersey, by the Happy Gilmore to my Chubbs.
You have no idea who I am, do you?
No, I don't.
Back in 1965, Sports Illustrated said I was going to be the next Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, what happened?
They wouldn't let me play on the Pro Tour anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because you're black?
Hell no. Damn alligator bit my hand off.
Oh, my God!
Yeah.
Ethan Gale fan, what is happening?
Nothing much, man. Just glad that you're recovering from your gator bite. But yeah, I just feel like I've had, I've been wearing obviously Patriots jerseys. I even wore my Paul Pierce jersey, even a Red Sox jersey at one point. Bruins are tops in the league, haven't given them any love, so I felt like it was due. And yes, this is actually a jersey from my, I think either 8th grade or freshman year days. So it still fits kind of.
Wow, that is a mega throwback.
It's got the gold. Where's the bear? Yeah, I like the bear.
Nice. Is that a particular player? Or is that just like a team jersey?
Just a blank jersey. Just love the team. It's not about the names on the back, Kemper. It's about the name on the front.
The name on the front. Who was the hot Bruins player when you were growing up?
Who were my Bruins? We have Ray Bork, Adam Oates.
Ray Bork.
Cam Neely was a little before my time, but I definitely loved Adam Oates. And Ray Bork then left, but that was good, so he could get a championship because Bruins weren't good. Like, they were always mediocre when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And then the best part was it was like around 2007 when like the Patriots were undefeated, the Celtics were winning the championship, the Red Sox were winning the World Series. There was a song that came out, well, not even like a really song, but it was a YouTube thing that just said, "Thank goodness for the Bruins." Because like otherwise just all Boston teams were just dominating every sport. So, thank goodness for the Bruins. But then 4 years later, they won a Stanley Cup. So it was great.
There you go. Adam Oates is a throwback because he came to St. Louis as well.
Did he?
He was on the Blues for a while because I remember my brother having a vinyl, like Trapper Keeper binder or something.
Yes.
That had Brett Hull and Adam Oates, and it was Hull and Oates, and it was like that was their marketing at the time was Hull and Oates, which is probably not that far off from when Hull and Oates was popular. So
that's
there you
true.
go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I loved Adam Oates. He was a great assist guy, great captain. Of course, Ray Bork, the great defender. I went to the Avs in like the year 2000, and he won a championship.
God, those Avs teams were nasty.
Yeah.
When they came into the league and just took like everybody.
Patrick Waugh. They had Claude Lemieux. Who were these scorers? What did you say? Joe Sakic and
they had Forsberg and Sakic.
Forsberg. That was right. Peter Forsberg.
Yeah. And there was a guy I used to play. Did you ever play Wayne Gretzky's hockey on any of the systems?
I would just play like NHL 95 or 97 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I one of those. I don't remember which one it was, but there was if you were one of the players on the Red Wings, and his name will come to me here in a minute.
Brandon
But he had like 99 speed. Sergei Fedorov. That's who
Fedorov.
it was. Sergei Fedorov had 99 speed. And so there was one move that you could do in that game where if you would just go past the goal on either side then sweep back around.
Oh, the old wraparound.
It worked. It wasn't a wraparound like you didn't come from the other side. You went straight up, straight down, across, done. It wasn't like wrapping around the goal. It was like back down the same side. It was unstoppable. And Sergei Fedorov was so fast.
He was.
No one could catch him.
Well, similar to that in NHL 97, I would be the Vancouver Canucks because Pavel Bure, same kind of thing. I would just my same move. I'd just like speed up, go around the hoop. Around the net, wrap around goal, game. Like every time. Yep. Then there would be points because I loved in those old school hockey games. Well, I'm sure they still do keep these stats, but it would show like hits and like checks and stuff like that. So there'd be times like I'm just gonna check everybody. I can't remember. You've seen Swingers, obviously, right?
No, I never saw Swingers.
You never saw Swingers.
I know.
Well,
you had a poster.
Oh my God, because there's a great scene where like they're pre-gaming. And again, this is early 90s, which is the best. So they're pre-gaming before going out in LA and they're playing like NHL 95. And it's Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, whatever the hell. So it's graphics that you and I grew up with. And they're playing and it's like a playoff game. And Vince Vaughn is talking to his buddy like, I'm going to make Gretzky's head bleed. I'm going to make his head bleed. And like his only goal is to just check. And he's like, dude, effing playoffs. Like you can't don't mess around with that shit. And so like food came to the door, and so he hits pause, like, don't unpause it. So of course he goes to get the food. Vince Vaughn unpauses, like, watch. And then he checks Gretzky. He's down on the floor, writhing in pain, and see the little digitized blood coming out. Then of course they fight because it's the playoffs. And like, so it's great.
I remember that, man. I remember being able to hit people and then being like writhing on the ground in the on the ice.
It's like 16-bit pixelations, like
yeah, it's like a little square. It's a square with a little nub on each end for like your feet and your head.
Yep.
There was that. So that was NHL. I did play mostly NHL growing up. Then I got into Wayne Gretzky's hockey more like middle school time frame.
Fair.
And that was a lot better from a being able to hit people and what you could do and all that. There's another one. I don't know if it's like it's almost like NFL Blitz. Maybe it's NHL Blitz. I don't know if that's a game or not, but it came out with another hockey game that I played one time when my buddy got married. We were hanging out before the wedding in like the groom's room or whatever. And he had this thing on like a projector screen. I was playing. I was like, this is so fun because all you do is just ram. You're just like crushing people the whole time.
So this is
I'll have to get the name of that.
A little off the rails, but a similar hockey video game at the time, again on Sega Genesis, whatever. Did you ever play Mutant League hockey or Mutant League?
I loved Mutant League.
Right.
Yes.
So there'd be like,
I played football a lot. I played hockey too.
Yeah.
Bones Jackson.
Yep. And so there'd be like bombs on the ice. You'd roll over, your guy would explode. Like, dang it! Or you get like a weapon and you can cut people's arm. Like, jeez. I love that game. It was so fun.
Oh, the Mutant
but
League
also
games
so
great.
infuriating because like, oh, here comes the grenade puck, and like you hit into the goal. Your goalie, you don't have a goalie the rest of the game. Like, no,
the goal explodes, and you just don't have a goalie.
Damn it!
That's so true. That game was wild, man. There was on the football one. Well, some of the guys were like, they had like motorcycle wheels or something, and they would be like faster than everybody else, and they have like spikes on them and stuff.
Yep.
But there'd be some fields that were in outer space and have like just holes in them.
Yeah,
and if you ran into the hole, you just fell and you were just gone.
You're gone, and you're playing the man down the rest of the time.
What a wild game!
There was literally a part where if you killed enough of your opposing team, they would have to forfeit because I can't play anymore.
Yep. That was part of the strategy. You could just try and take them out.
Yeah.
That was actually, the precursor to that. Did you ever play Base Wars? It was a baseball game.
I don't think I did.
Base Wars was fun because it was robots, and you would have, there were like three different guys. There's like a full cyborg looking guy who was like legs and arms and everything. There's a dude who's like a scooter, basically. He's like a one wheel, like he was like, but he was really fast, but he was like, he's always kind of rolling back and forth. And there was like a tank kind of guy, I think, who had like a tank bottom and he had arms. But anyway, you would get on base and like you could fight the guy on base. Like you could fight him to steal the next base or whatever. That's how you would get another base. And most of the time you'd have like a bat, like a baseball bat, and you're just like you beat him or you punch him or whatever. But some of the guys would get like a handgun and it would just be like and you would just like take people out. I forget if it's like an upgrade where you could like buy that.
You can buy
if you won games or whatever, but like sometimes you could get a gun and you just like game over right there. But that was before Mutant League. I mean, that was like the precursor to Mutant League.
That's intense.
Base Wars. Check that out. It's probably on some emulator somewhere.
I'm gonna upgrade for a handgun.
Yeah, the handgun was, but you only had like 3 bullets a game or something.
But there it is. There's the strategy.
You can steal a base, just be like, bam, got him.
Bam. Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Check it out. You might be able to play it on your Nintendo Switch if you've got the whatever that free download 200 NES games or whatever thing they have.
God.
It might be on there.
I told you before, like I still have like all my old game systems, and so we did a video game progression one summer. And started with the old school Nintendo, went to the Genesis, Nintendo 64, didn't get up to the Xbox, and then we got the Switch. So went the whole progression.
I couldn't even plug one of those in right now because none of my TVs have got the.
I had to buy a special adapter. I looked on like eBay or online, like adapter for N64 to new TVs.
Yep.
Worked.
No coax cables for the game keyboard.
Yeah, it was something. I had to really jerry-rig it, but it worked.
Good times. Well, there were some NFL games this weekend. Some important
played
ones.
In space with landmines on the field.
Yep. Bones Jackson was crushing yet again. I think he plays for the 49ers because they were dominating.
Yeah. Although
San Francisco.
it was close in the beginning, man. Until I'd say the second part of the second quarter. I mean, the Seahawks were looking good. DK Matt, don't say like, oh, like what is that, a 5-minute span? But until like right before halftime, it was a pretty decently close game. The Seahawks were winning at one point. It was so funny because the announcers were talking about Brock Purdy. He's like, he's clearly getting rattled. This is the first time on the stage. He's not playing that great. And then he goes off for 4 touchdowns. Second half, they just take control. But yeah.
So the Seahawks were winning by a point at one point, at 2 points. They were down 10-0 first quarter, FYI. Then they scored.
They came back.
And then San Francisco got a field goal. Then they scored again. So they went up by 14-13. So yeah, they went to halftime. They were up 17-16.
See, boom.
So you thought this might be close, and then it just wasn't. San Francisco really pulled away. San Francisco's just got a lot of firepower. The defense is freaking good.
Oh, that's right. Because I texted you at halftime because I texted you about squib kicks because the Niners did a squib kick to
that's right,
which I hate and are so stupid. They get it to like the 40, and then Geno runs, slides, and then the 49er guy just decides to smack. Like, well, what are you? And then puts him in field goal range. So yeah, that's right.
That almost cost them because they had just gotten a field goal with like 18 seconds left, and they were going to get the ball back at the second half. And so you're like, oh, that's a perfect, Patriots, Brady, score before the half, get it back, double dip kind of thing. And they just went and boneheaded, stupid plays. But the defense showed up in the second half, took care of business. They're going to be a tough out, man. They're going to be a tough out.
They are.
But we'll get to that later. The Chargers and the Jags game. This one is one for the history books, man. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Jags go down 27-0. Trevor Lawrence throws 3 picks in the first quarter, 4 picks in the first half. And you're just like, speaking of rattled, I didn't watch the first half at all. I was out running errands and doing stuff.
I was in and out. I was in and out of the first half. And so I watched the very beginning. The second play of the game for the Jags was a pick. I'm like, oh. Now, granted, it was like tipped twice, and then the guy got it, but still. And, then the Chargers come right down. They score with Austin Eckler. First of all, it's like NFL Fantasy Challenges. And, I mean, the Chargers were just completely dominant, and Trevor Lawrence looked terrible. The entire Jaguars team looked terrible. But then, they score right before the half, and they make it 27-7. It's like, okay, like, now, in no mind did I think they're going to win this game. I'm like, okay, they can at least make it respectable. Unfortunately, like the Chargers get the ball to start the game, to start the second half. But then it just kind of had that Patriots-Falcons feel to it, where the Jaguars were just staying in it, man. Like the defense was holding, and they were just doing long drives and getting able to score. And then they score another time. You're like, dude. If there's any team that this can happen to, it's the Chargers. Like they are prone for collapses. They are prone to butts getting super tight and play calling and stuff like that. It's Brandon Staley. Like, man, it was just wild to watch. Wild.
Yeah. So ultimately, I remember the Jags went down, and it was going to be like, I think 27-30. They'd scored. It was 26-30, and they were going to do the extra point. But then there was like a penalty on the Chargers, so they get half the distance. So now you're at the 1, and the smart move here is to go for 2 at that point. Now, mathematically, it didn't make a lot of sense because you wanted to be within a field goal, but they went for 2 and they got it. And so now they're only down 2 points, so a field goal can win, which ends up being genius. It's one of those plays. It's like, what were you thinking? Or that was genius. I think because they got the penalty and they got half the distance, you're trying from the 1-yard line.
That was the Joey Bosa play. That was the Joey Bosa freak out, and that's why they got the penalty to get to the half-yard or 1-yard line.
Right. That's right. And so I think Trevor went over the top for this one.
Yeah, it was up the stretch.
That was
the anti-Tyler Huntley.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit. That was wild. I watched that one live. But yeah, that was Trevor going over the top. So Jaguars come back. They end up getting a game-winning field goal at the end. I'm stoked because I'm like kind of weirdly rooting for them. Like I really want them to do well. I love the story.
Division pride, man.
Peterson is a ridiculous coach.
He pulled some Dan Campbell type stuff when, what was it, the 4th and 2 on that final drive. And you think, or is it 4th and 1, I think. And they line 3 people in the backfield. You figure it's just going to be Lawrence sneaking and they're just going to shove the line. No, dude pulls a freaking wide sweep with the left side running back going to the right, and like, oh my god! And he got like 20
That was a great
yards.
play. That was ATN. He got like 20 yards. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great play. I mean, Peterson's a hell of a coach, man. He's gotten crappy teams to the pinnacle in the past. So you cannot doubt this team, man.
no.
I know you're gonna sit here and be like, and I would say the same thing. Like before this game, even I was just saying Chiefs are gonna stomp whoever comes out of this game anyway. I still mostly feel that way, except there's that one component, that wild card component of like
they're playing with house money, man. They're playing
with house money. They got nothing to lose,
right?
And so there's at least a chance. I'm not going to be hot takey here and be like the Jags are going to win, but I'm like listen. I don't know.
You wouldn't be surprised if they could shock.
I wouldn't be stunned if they won. I would not be stunned.
What you're saying is there's a chance. What was all that 1 in a million? Wrong movie, but still cool.
True. Still fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, the Bills Dolphins. I did watch a decent amount of this game. Wasn't the prettiest game. I mean, it was back and forth quite a bit. The Dolphins really hanging in there, man. I mean, that's another well-coached team. You got Skylar Thompson out there hanging in with the Bills, who they had no business hanging in that game, but they did. They made it a bit of a scare toward the end. I got to think the Bills and the Bengals both were just looking forward to next week. I think they
probably
took their opponent seriously because these are also division rivals, and division rivalry games, they have a different feel to them. So
it's true.
Teams they can stay close. There's a lot of pride in the line there.
For sure. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched very little of this game, and I was just, keeping track of it on my phone, just checking updates. The Bills go up 17-0, and I'm like, okay, this game is done. This is gross. And then I was kind of bummed because Josh Allen wasn't playing that great. I was like, they're just gonna steamroll, and so he's gonna be done. I'm like, damn it. But yeah, then they clawed their way back, on a couple of Bills miscues and stuff like that, which helped them a little bit. So yeah, it was kind of weird, and this is what we've been nervous about with the Bills for basically the second half of the season, that they're letting these teams kind of hang in that. Now, granted, they're winning these games, but they're letting them hang around. They're not necessarily putting their gas to the pedal. That didn't make sense. Putting the pedal to the floor or not letting up. And it's kind of weird. It's just they're seeming very vulnerable. And I mean, I know the loss of Von Miller halfway through the year hurt a lot for their defense, but even offensively, it just, I don't know, it seemed a little out of sync. It was nice to see Gabe Davis kind of finally show up. I guess he's playoff, man. That's his deal. But yeah, this Bills Bengals game is going to be interesting because, I mean, why don't we just jump into the Bengals? Same kind of deal as you said. They're probably looking ahead. There's no Lamar Jacksons, Tyler Huntley. So this is going to be a cakewalk. But that was a battle too, and it literally took that 98-yard fumble return for the win. I mean, because they weren't looking great. They were looking okay, but the Ravens were driving on them, and they got fortunate, man. Yeah,
that was wild. Ravens are going down. It's not like the Bengals were just going to lose if the Ravens had scored here, but there was no momentum either way. It was kind of just a grinded out AFC North kind of a game. Tyler Huntley tries to go over the top, doesn't get to the goal line. Bengals swat the ball out of his hand.
And that's the difference, because Lawrence did it on the 1. Hundley tried to do it from the 3 or the 4, and that's too far. That is way too far, and that leaves.
You can't leave the ball out there with just your hand holding it. You've got to secure the ball no matter what. So,
and again, maybe on the 1, that's the one hand would be okay, but not when you're still a couple yards shy. You're not going to get it that far, and then you'll see what happens, and it just falls directly into Hubbard's hand.
I mean, that was nuts. That was nuts. The dude was just there. He was there at the right time,
How about Mark Andrews almost came back and made the tackle? He almost pulled the DK Metcalf.
He did. Well, he could have caught him. I mean, the Bengals weren't blocking all that well for him. He had a whole cavalcade of guys.
3 guys
4
around
of them running.
And Mark Andrews still almost got him.
Yeah, there were 4 guys running together, and Andrews is kind of weaving between them. And finally, one guy sort of blocks him in the back, honestly.
I know that he did this move, and you're like, don't do that, man, because if you do this, the ref's like, oh, that's flag.
That's a flag. Yeah, I'm a little surprised he didn't get that flag, but honestly, it probably didn't impact the run. I think the guy was already close enough, but it was close. So yeah, they end up winning that game. We get the showdown that we all wanted. Bengals and Bills. They're both they're on 9 or 10 game win streaks. Both these teams are super hot right now. Even though they're not winning pretty necessarily, they're winning. So
it doesn't matter at this point. As everyone is the classic saying, just survive in advance, and that's exactly what both of these teams did.
Yep. Yeah, I think I didn't realize Tyler Huntley was going to play. He'd been battling tendonitis and hadn't practiced all week, so I was surprised to see him out there. He's a competent quarterback. I mean, he's capable of keeping a team in a game, so I wasn't shocked when I found out he was playing. I wasn't shocked that they were at least competitive, but
well, last season, if you remember when Lamar went down, he came in and he lit it up. I mean, he was for fantasy wise, he was getting like 20 to 30 points each game. Like,
yeah,
damn,
he was awesome.
Am I gonna have to pick up Tyler Huntley?
He was a great play last year. He wasn't as good this year when he filled in for Lamar,
No,
but
wasn't.
Again, he is competent.
Offensively this year, they were way worse, just in terms of weapons and availability and injury. Anyway, it was gross for the Ravens this year.
Yeah,
glad to see him though. And John Harbaugh's kind of a dick. You see, like his interview, like with Melissa Stuff. I'm not a fan of him. Again, I told you all year I hate the Ravens, and I'm glad they're gone. So goodbye.
I'm glad they're gone. I love the Bengals though. I'm stoked to see this game, man. I'm really am. I'm pulling for both these teams. Whoever wins this, I really want to go to the Super Bowl. I like the Chiefs just fine, but the two great stories here. You know, I like to see what happens. Giants pulled the upset that we thought they could against the Vikings. You know, the Vikings just have not been impressed with them all year. Their record is great. They fumbled away several games they should have won. They've not put anybody really good away other than that one win against the Bills. We talked about that last week. And here come the Giants, who have a lot of pride, again, playing with house money. Why not us? And here they go.
Daniel Jones trying to get paid, man. That's why. He's like
Daniel Jones trying to get paid. He played well, man. Plays butt off. He was running the ball a lot. There were a lot of designed runs for him, and he was taking some hits too. He got lit up a few times. He got broken in half, and I was thinking, I don't know if he took an elbow right into his neck, right in the jugular one time, and I thought he was going to collapse his trachea or something. And he just got right up. No facial expression whatsoever. Just got right up. Next play, and I'm just like, dude, you took a straight forearm right to your neck.
To your neck. It's like you got a dart in your neck.
You got a dart in your neck, bro. This is awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. So anyway, the Giants roll on, man. Isaiah Hudgens and Richie James, man.
He was a sneaky fantasy play at the last 3-4 weeks of the season. I had to put him in, and he did. He got me that consolation championship. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all you gotta say. Isaiah Hudgens has been even better. And this is a guy that absolutely no one is talking about. No one even knows who this guy is, and he put up 100 yards in this game. I mean, like, these guys they're sort of like the Jags, but worse. Like, their receivers are these kind of no-namey types, but they're even like
no-namey types.
They're even less no names. Like, Darius Slayton is their star, and even he would be like a 3 on the Jags, who already don't have a star. You know, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I felt real bad for Slayton, but glad they won the game. He dropped a wide open pass, a crosser that in the fourth quarter that would have put this game on ice. I mean, they were driving his third down. He was wide open. It was a post, maybe a slant, and he was, I mean, just like right in the breadbasket and just dropped it. And there was open field. I mean, he wasn't going to score, but he was going to get a first down that would have iced the game. He was feeling pretty bad about that. Defense came through anyway. Didn't matter, but yeah, look out. This is a dangerous team, again, because they have house money, but also the Eagles are beatable, man. And the Giants, they do not honestly, care. They're very well coached.
If you're the Giants and you're like, do I get to play the 49ers? You want the Eagles. Like,
you want the Eagles.
1,000%.
For sure.
Talk about 49ers stock going like this. The Eagles are just going like that. And there's no question you want to play the Eagles.
This is another one where you're not going to be stunned if they beat the Eagles. I'm really not.
No,
I don't think this team. I mean, there's no chance this team makes a Super Bowl. I mean, that's just off the table in my mind. But they could beat the Eagles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They could beat the Eagles. And then, you know what would be crazy if Dallas does somehow beat San Francisco. Then you got 3 NFC East teams. Like, the Giants play the Eagles, they beat them. They play the Cowboys. Like, these teams know each other well. I guess anything could happen, but.
True.
I don't see it. There's no way there's enough talent on this team to make a Super Bowl.
No. I mean, these are definitely less talented teams than the one that did win the Super Bowl from the wild card spot. So yeah, they're different teams.
Yes, very different. Very different. But Justin Jefferson kind of held in check a little bit in this game. He had a lot of targets, had a lot of receptions, not a lot of yardage. That was clearly the game plan. TJ Hawkinson lit them up again, which is not super surprising, but Jefferson couldn't break free, or Cousins couldn't get him. I don't know exactly what it was, but they had a better plan. And Dory Jackson came back for this game. He's a good corner.
I should have read it more in depthly, but they set an NFL record because it was something crazy that there was like they had no turnovers, no this, like something like the quarterback threw 80% completion percentage, and they still lost. So it was a wild. It's like because Kirk Cousins didn't play that bad. I mean,
He
again,
didn't throw the game away.
Passes had almost 300 yards. So like, yeah, it was just kind of. Bleh.
That's kind of the Vikings, though. Where you're sort of like they're not like blowing it necessarily. They're not. I mean, the defense has not been good. Not been good. You can't give up 31 points to the Giants. That's not good.
That's too many.
But like, I don't know. To your point, like the offense has been like pretty good. I don't know. Whatever that stat was, that probably feels exactly right for this team.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Giants had to Philly take on the Eagles, and then last night, what a stinker, man!
So gross.
What a stinker. This is exactly what we feared would happen, but talked ourselves into it not happening because of Tom Brady, and they're getting right, and they're gonna figure it out. Nope, they're every bit as bad as we thought they were.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Tampa Bay. You are done.
Just like
I don't know if Brady's gonna play again. Who knows?
Just watching that game on both sides of the ball, they just looked so hapless. I mean, the defense, they were just getting torched. I mean, Dak Prescott looked like an all perennial team member there. And I mean, offensively, hell, I mean, just at the end of the first half where, you know, they haven't scored, they're just trying to get yards to get closer to a field goal. Literally no one is covering Mike Evans because they know they're just trying to get 5-7 yards to get a little closer. Brady misses him wide open. And it's just, it was gross. The Bucs did not deserve to win that game. Not from the get-go, although Dallas tried to keep him in it with Brett Maher. He's going to be fired. I'm surprised he has not been let go yet.
Did they? So I saw they kept getting 6 points every time they scored, and I just assumed they started going for 2 every time. But did he just like miss every PAT or what?
4.
Oh, 1 of 5.
He missed the first 4. I was watching. I'm like, this is insane. Talk about yips. I mean, he missed the first 2 right. Then he shanked the one left. The 4th one, he goes high and hits the top of the crossbar. I mean, the top of the goalpost. It was unbelievable. And then in the third quarter, the Cowboys are driving. They're on, I want to say, the 30, and it was 4th and 4. Like, nope, we're not trotting them out there. They went for it because like
got to go for it. Yeah. I know that feeling very well. That reminds me of high school. We never kicked a single field goal. We missed most of our extra points. Yep. I know that feeling well. At some point, you just start going for 2 every time. Screw it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, man. I don't know what that is with him. That's got to be a weird yips thing because
he missed 3 all season.
6 going on the board, and I just assumed they were going for 2 to make up for missing the first extra point, and that they weren't getting 2. Then they're like, well, we got to go for 2 again, and like, I didn't realize they just missed 4 extra points. It
was so funny because they would show on the sideline each player that scored the touchdown or would it be attack, and just go, like, come on,
bro.
And I know this game wasn't close from start to finish, but it's like if there's anyone you don't give away points to, it's Tom Brady, and because you just feel like this is just setting him up for a classic comeback, has missed those extra points, but no, they look terrible. It's gross.
Nope, not this time.
It was gross.
I can't tell you. I don't think anyone can. What happened to the Buccaneers this year? I just don't know. I mean, they got healthy second half of the season, so they had all their players.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with the offensive line. That could have been an issue. They could have had some injuries there that were pretty substantial, and Brady's having to get the ball out too quickly.
They were the worst team in the league running the ball. They averaged 70 yards a game.
Well, they only ran it 12 times last night, so that's part of your problem. But like, if you get into a 21-point hole, I understand why you wouldn't. I don't know, man. I don't know what that is. I'm not exactly sure what to chalk that up to. I got to think there's something with the line. You know, because
I mean, they were
Brady threw for 350 yards.
The line was banged up this year. Do you see Brady attempt a slide tackle?
No.
So it was to open the second half, you know, that first drive, and threw the ball to Chris Godwin, got the first down, goes down, ball comes out, and Cowboys pick it up, and Brady comes in at the end to try and slide tackle the freaking guy who was returning the fumble. Didn't get called for anything because the play actually got reversed. They said he was already down. But anyway.
They said Godwin was already down?
Yeah. So
I just saw it, like, as I was looking at the box score on my other screen, I just saw video of that exact play. I didn't see the end of it, so now I'm going to rewatch it. And
I'm gonna watch it.
I saw Godwin go down. And I saw the fumble, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks." That must have been at the end of the game. So I saw they got like an onside kick late. But I see Brady trying to do a slide tackle.
You're watching it right now. I mean, so he misses the guy first. Then the guy's still running around.
Man, that is awful, man. That is awful.
That's some Grayson Allen type shit right there.
Some Mac Jones shit.
And Mac Jones. Well, I think I saw a headline: Mac Jones is the Grayson Allen of the NFL. I'm like, that's about right. That's about right.
Golly, man.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen, dude? What's the story here? You're the Brady whisperer, right? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, clearly. He won't lose 4 games in a row. He's never lost four. Well, he's not lost against the Cowboys.
He's gonna have a losing season.
He's never had a losing season. He has a losing season. So clearly I am 0 for 4 on him. But I would just like to think, well, not like to think, but I would think that he can't go out like that. And you think now he'll probably just go to a team more for fun. And, because you go to the Bucks, he did his job. He got him a Super Bowl. He proved it was him, not Belichick. It's both. But anyway, he proved he could do it without him. He accomplished everything he needed to go to when he went to Tampa. He made the playoffs every year, did everything he needed to. I think now he's just got to go. He's going to go somewhere that's a good fit for him, where he can enjoy it again, kind of then have his swan song and go out kind of on his own terms. Obviously, the hot name right now is the Raiders, just to be reunited with Josh McDaniels. I mean, to throw it to Devontae Adams, that's a nice bonus, but it's not like he didn't have weapons in Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be the
He's
best.
He's not going to go to the Raiders. They don't have a defense.
They don't have a defense.
I think that's got to be a top priority for him. It's like, because he knows it's not a one-man game. As good as he is and was, and he's the best of all time, I'm never going to argue that. But you don't win 7 Super Bowls without the defense.
Oh, no, not at all. And so, I mean, I just can't envision that being his last game. If maybe he comes back to the Bucks, maybe not. But I can't see him being done, especially obviously with all the off the field issues that he had this season. I can't see him being done.
He might as well come back, right? At this point,
at this point,
because the off field stuff. I mean, he kind of blew up that whole thing with Giselle, so might as well. Yeah, I don't know where else makes sense.
Go to Miami, just like they were trying to do a few years back.
Yeah, but there again, I mean, the defense is okay, but not great.
I mean, hell, it'd be quite a story if he went to San Fran, his hometown team that he loved growing up, but they wouldn't do that.
San Fran don't need him. Fran don't need him.
They show they don't. They can plug us in there, and we're fine.
Brock Purdy. I keep getting annoyed because Brock Purdy has 3 of the same letters as Tom Brady. Purdy and Brady. I'm just like, it's the same freaking name. Are you really that unoriginal, NFL? You're just gonna like, Tom Brady's gone. Don't worry, Brady's gone. Purdy's in. I'm like, it's the same freaking name.
It's the same name.
Annoying.
I like how you blame the NFL, not his parents or anything like that. The lineage of the great Purdy name. Like, screw you, NFL.
It's a fucking conspiracy. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that makes you think this whole thing is rigged.
He's actually a Tom Brady clone, but they don't talk about it.
He might be. I don't know.
It makes sense.
This
the timing
would
make sense.
I'm just saying.
He's half his age. Makes sense.
That's true. It could be his son. Shit. His kid. It's his kid. He had him in the Purdy's lovely family, raised him because Tom was like, I'm 23. I can't have a kid right now. You know, I'm like, so they're like, all right. We'll take it. They've had some sweepstakes.
You heard it here first. DNA test. Brock Purdy, Tom Brady.
DNA test. Hey, Dad. I think I saw him after the game, too. He said, hey, Dad, to him when he saw him at midfield. He was like, hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Congrats. No, we're not supposed to say that. Don't let the cameras see you.
Anyway, Brock Purdy. By the way, did you see Brandon Ayuk was his post game? They were talking to him in the locker room. And he goes, I owe Brock one, because I guess Brock had this great scramble. The game was done, but Brock was scrambling left. He goes right, left, right again. Somehow finds Brandon in the back of the end zone, wide open, drops it, and he goes, I owe Brock. I got him one. I'm gonna get him one.
I'm gonna get him one.
I'm gonna get him one.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see, but the team looks good, man. I maintain that team looks good.
It does.
All right, let's get an update on the NFL Challenge, NFL Playoff Challenge. We've got a nice little pool going here.
Yeah.
Mr. Gelfan has jumped out to an early lead, crushing it. 125.78 points. Very well done, sir.
Yeah,
Josh
it
Allen
helps.
had a big game. Nice game for you.
It helps that I
That was
had
a good
everyone
play.
playing except for Kelsey, so he was just kind of like my stash to get my double points. Josh Allen was a little nerve-wracking at first because he was not playing well, and then he kind of turned it up at the end, even though he had 2 interceptions. Austin Eckler, he was my gamble play. He was my Joe Mixon from last year, saying, if he gets me 2 games, I'm good with that. Unfortunately, second biggest collapse in playoff history, but he still got me good scoring, which was good. That was the only kind of saving grace there. But everyone else was still alive. Jamar Chase played well. Stephon Diggs played all right. Didn't get a touchdown, but still had a lot of receiving yards. So I'm feeling good. But now I know your players are going to be coming into it because you had a lot of guys on bye. So
I had a couple. Yeah. I had 3. The quarterback's the big one. But again, the quarterback's a gamble, man. You just don't know who's going to go, right? And especially out of that AFC. And so Bengals, Bills, this game's obviously going to be huge for you because you've got a couple of Bills. I've only got Jamar, but I have Diggs as well. So one of those has to be done after this week.
Yep.
So it's tough to know. I've got McKinnon and Mahomes coming in, and I have Kelsey too. But McCaffrey was a great play. We had most of the same lineup otherwise. McCaffrey, Diggs, Chase, San Francisco's defense. Yeah. I took Robbie Gould, was a good kicking play. I think he was the top kicker. San Francisco D has been good as well. So it's going to get interesting moving on. Now, we've got some other interesting picks in the pool, I will say. Yeah. And 2 guys have the same exact lineup, which sucks. It's like, and they're both like all guys who played this week. And so there's no way they can keep all these players because they're like from 5 different teams or something. So Garrett and Hazer. Yeah, they're actually, I take that back. They're actually from 3 different teams. So they've got like Bills, a lot of Bills and Bengals, but they only have the Niners from the NFC. So if the Niners go, they'll be all right. But yeah, they've got Josh Allen, Mixon, Jamar Chase, Diggs, and Tyler Bass kicking. Who knew? Well, I guess you could have known Dalton Schultz would have a good game at the tight end, and also Dawson Knox. I mean, those have been 2 good tight end picks.
Yeah.
Should have played Isaiah Hudgens, obviously, for
Clearly.
the Giants.
Up until last night, you should have played Brock Purdy. He was the number 1 quarterback, man.
Honestly, should have played Brock Purdy. That's true. Brock Purdy crushed it, and that would have been a crazy pick. That would have been like
whoa,
stuck on that one.
Well, that's just kind of, again, you just hope he'll make it. That's like a longevity play that you're just like, okay, I just think they'll be there for a while, so he can just keep racking up points. It's not a bad play, honestly. Even in
it turns out he's also, like you said, top scoring quarterback. So it would have been a great play anyway.
Until Dak. Dak became the top.
Until Dak. And Trevor, I don't know if Trevor outscored him or not. No. 4 touchdowns.
4 interceptions.
But anyway, another interesting one I thought was Drader, who went heavy on the Bengals, which is surprising because he's a diehard Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
And so he went heavy on the Bengals. They're the only one to take Burrow in this pool, which could be a really good play, obviously. If they make it back to the Super Bowl, this is going to be probably your winning lineup,
Yeah.
So there's still a lot to play out. He's got Miles Sanders coming in this week. He's got Travis Kelce coming in this week, but he played a lot of Bengals. He played Diggs, and he played San Francisco's defense. So you really won't know until after this week, and even then, a lot of it's going to depend on the adjustments that are made too.
Yeah. Well,
so, particularly.
I know I don't want to reveal my pick until Thursday, so I had to replace my Austin Eckler pick. So my running back, it's tough, man. I don't know because I don't know if I should put in a Jerick McKinnon to kind of hedge my bet against you because I know you have him, but you'll have still that 1 multiplier up on me. So I'd be getting half the points that you get. So I don't know if that's just like a safe play. Miles Sanders is an opportunity. I mean, hell, Saquon, if they can upset the Eagles, that would be a nice little bump just to get, again, I'm just looking for 2 games out of whoever I put in. So I got to truthfully,
I got to tell you, you're better off that Eckler lost this round than next round.
Yes.
Because then you would never get more than double points from that running back spot. You need a guy this round who's going to go to the Super Bowl. You need to know whoever you pick is going to be in the Super Bowl because you need the 3x points at this point.
True. This is true.
And if it's McKinnon, I'll be sitting at 4x, but 3x is more than half, So if you go McKinnon, you're only going to be down 1 multiplier on me. That could only be, 15 points, could be 6 points, rushing wise, he gets like 3 carries a game. It's like 7 yards. It's all receiving work.
All receiving.
So, you do.
I got a decision to make.
Got to draw a line in the sand and decide. And it may come down to that Bills and Bengals too, and be like, hey, I'm either going Bills or Bengals. Maybe Samaje Perine.
Because Joe Mixon sucks.
Joe Mixon does suck.
Yeah.
But
he
anyway,
saved me last year. He was my stud last year.
He could be this year too.
But the funny thing is, even though he made it to the Super Bowl for me, he was still getting outscored by people, even when he had the 4-time multiplier. I'm like, dude.
He had 4x and other guys were beating him. Yeah. That was funny. That was funny. It was Daryl Henderson or somebody was like outscoring.
What the hell, man? Like, this is stupid.
That's the one thing you do have to worry about. And that does concern me about McKinnon because he's been on such a hot streak, but it's all receiving org. I'm kind of like, there's a chance this is a dud pick, but
hey, anything can happen. It's playoffs. Jaguars can come from 21 down. Giants can have no names and win a game. So there you go.
True. Maybe I ought to go with ATN.
I honestly looked at it, but I was like,
I honestly looked at it.
I looked at them all.
I don't know.
Devin Singletary popped up. I was like, ugh.
Woof.
Yeah.
Speaking of woof, we did not do so hot in our prop bet challenge. Although I will give myself some credit for making it a difficult challenge, I guess.
You did make it hard.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a good thing that we didn't just crush it, right?
Yeah, that's true. We didn't just kind of give ourselves layups. We challenged ourselves. We came out of our box. You went 6 of 12. I went 5 of 12 of these dirty dozen. Not pretty.
Not pretty. So some highlights. We started out okay. We both had the over on Brock Purdy's 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, we did.
We both had the over on 4+ passing touchdowns for Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence combined.
But just barely.
Wasn't going to come through, and Herbert only got 1.
I know.
But Trev got all 4 of the other ones, so that worked.
That's the kicker.
We missed the most passing yards. We both took Herbert. It was Purdy. We missed Stephon Diggs scoring a touchdown. We both said yes. That was a no. Did not score a touchdown. We missed Tyreek Hill receptions. This was a hard one to guess, right? Over 5.5 receptions. We thought under. He'd been under the 3 games that Skylar Thompson had been playing, and he went for 7 receptions. So
he was just getting targeted out the butt. Jalen Waddle was absent for the entire first half. I don't think he had a catch in the first half. That's what I thought they were gonna.
He had like 3 drops.
Yeah.
The Dolphins. That's the other thing I forgot to mention in that game. The Dolphins had probably 5 or 6 team drops. I mean, it was crazy how many drops they had.
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson was putting it there, and they just couldn't catch it. I don't know. It was weird.
I think Skylar Thompson started like 1 for 6 with an interception. Like, oh god,
it was not his fault. I'm telling you, It was not entirely his fault. Justin Jefferson over under 91.5 receiving yards. He was well under that, 7 for 47. That was just the gut feeling that he had 130 something the last game. They were going to find a way to try and bracket him. I didn't know Adoree was going to be back. I thought Adoree had already been back.
Did you go under? I can't remember.
I went under. Yeah.
Oh, you did go under. Okay.
Yeah, I was worried about him this week.
So that's
and then Jamar Chase scored a touchdown. Yes, for both of us. And then this is what I was talking about earlier. Who's going to have the most receiving yards? You went Jefferson. I was worried about him and didn't go Jefferson. I went Jamar Chase, who was close. TJ Hawkinson was actually the answer. 149 yards for Hawkinson. Diggs was second at 114. Yeah. Hodgins. I'm probably not even saying his name right. He was third actually with like 104, I think. So that was close.
Brutal.
Did Zeke score a touchdown? You said yes. No. I said no. He did not score a touchdown. He almost did. They were on the 1. I saw him. I saw last night. They were on the 1. He got stuffed, and I was like, "Oh, that does not happen often."
You're like, "Yes,
yes, I got 1." Over under Tom Brady, Dak Prescott 518.5 passing yards. You said over. I said under. 656 yards.
Yeah.
These two had.
But again,
it was crazy.
At halftime, it wasn't looking good, but Brady ended up throwing for 350, but that was just garbage yards. But hey, called it.
Leonard Fournette, 5.5 receptions. He ended up with 1 catch. I mean, I don't know where he went last night, but he wasn't playing.
That was dumb.
And then we did get the most rushing yards, Tony Pollard, the only explosive back of the bunch, 77 yards for him. Rashad White was second with 40-something. So both of the number 2s or 1B running backs were the top rushers. So 6 out of 12 for me, 5 out of 12 for you. Not great.
Yikes.
Not great. But a good, difficult contest. I like it.
Yes, I like it. Maybe I'll come up with the ones next week. Or I'll come up with the Dirty Dozen. Or
you should.
The Gelfand.
You should.
I can't think of it yet. I'll think of a catchy nickname on Thursday.
I think Dirty Dozen's fine.
Nope. Kind
No,
of
it will not be.
It will not
Yale
be.
fan Gate Teen.
Gate. Perfect. Wow. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. With obviously with the playoffs going, that there's a lot. It gets condensed, but there's still a lot of action going on. It'll be interesting to see our analysis on Thursday, just with injuries coming out and seeing matchups final. I mean, everyone's kind of looking at Jalen Hurts, see how he's going to be. So that's going to be. We'll be watching that closely. I don't know, which game are you most excited about? Obviously, it's probably. Let me guess. Bills Bengals.
Bills Bengals. I think everyone is. But secondarily, Jags Chiefs.
Secondary.
All the AFC games I'm stoked about. The NFC games, not as much. I don't want to have. The 49ers Cowboys would be a good game, I think. That could be a good game because I think both those teams are the two best teams in the NFC.
Oh, really? You think so? You really dropped the Eagles to third?
I do now. Yeah. I mean, if we talk about this more on Thursday, but if the Cowboys can play this kind of football, they can win a Super Bowl. Yeah. They're so inconsistent throughout the season. They've looked like this a few times, and you're like, dang, that's going to be a tough team to beat. They've got all these weapons on offense. And their defense is stout. Freaking Micah Parsons is such a stud. They still got Trayvon Diggs. Like, they've got players. And then they just kind of blow it, And so
stinkers against the Commanders and look terrible.
They get crushed against the Commanders in the last week of the season when they're playing their starters the whole game. And Dak goes like 14 of 35 or something. And you're like, what happened? What happened here? So I don't know if that's just how you played a really good defense or they had the right scheme. I don't know. But we'll find out. We'll find out next week when they play the 49ers if they're for real or not. Because I think the 49ers are for real.
I think they are. I hope they
consistently have been for real,
I would like to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I would. Flashback to when actually my first memory of football. 49ers Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. I remember them back in the day. We used to always watch it as a family and with family friends and stuff. And I always remember Giants, Niners, Redskins at the time, Broncos, like teams the teams were in there all the time. I remember those. The NFC East was stacked. Yeah, Cowboys obviously in the mid 90s. So
95, last Super Bowl. Beat Neil O'Donnell's Pittsburgh Steelers.
Neil O'Donnell.
Yeah.
He threw a pick six in that game, I think, to I think the MVP was a defensive back, wasn't it?
I think it wasn't Rod. No, it wasn't. But you're right, it was a defensive back. Although I remember that playoff run because the Steelers were playing the Colts in the AFC Championship game, and that was Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback. And they were down, the Colts were down by, I think, 5, and he just hucked up a Hail Mary at the end. And it was like this close to being caught. It was tipped. There was a guy on the ground, the Colts guy, and it like falls on him, and it just kind of like dribbled out. I was like, oh, like everyone thought it was caught, and everyone celebrating like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then they ruled it off. But yeah, it was wild. And actually, what was I about to say about that year? I don't remember. But anyway, I just remember that explicitly just being wild about it. Like, that was crazy. But to know a do. Not a saying, but that's okay.
To know a do.
To know, but I was like, alas, I just couldn't think of it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna throw a word in there that I misspelled earlier this week. So it was perfect.
To know a do. To know a do.
A do. So with that note, I will bid everyone adieu. So until next time, keep on folding.
Hold it.